Hello everyone, welcome back to FairlyDeterminedFM with me. My name is Chris. I hope you're all doing well. That was a weird way of doing it. My name is Chris though. Welcome back to What am I doing? Today, I want to talk about Football Manager 23 as a thing. Now I'd written a script for this. This was going to be a big scripted, highly edited sort of video, and I didn't. But I can't read through the script and everything. I tried recording it a couple of times. It didn't really feel right. So what I'm actually going to do is just have a little bit of a chatty episode, like a little short chatty episode where we talk about stuff. It's going to be sort of largely unedited, a few cuts here and there for time and whatnot, but by and large, just a little bit chatty. I think it's safe to say that the reception largely for FM23 has been positive, as Football Manager games receptions usually are, but I suppose there's been more of a mixed response, right? I mean, the big four YouTubers, Benji Lelujo, Jack and Zealand, put out an 80-minute long roundtable, which I don't think they've ever done before, talking about the reception that the game has got and what they think has happened and all that stuff. It's a really good video. You've probably already watched it if you're sat watching me with my 424 subscribers. I love you guys, by the way. But yeah, it's a really good video. I think like a lot of people in the community, I was particularly underwhelmed this year by the headline features. I mean, what did we get? The squad planner, which I don't know about you, but I kind of do that on a notepad anyway. It's cool to have it in the game, but honestly, I haven't really had a chance to play around with it because in the beta save I'm with Saint-Etienne and there's no point planning for a save you're going to abandon in 2 weeks' time. So I don't really know too much about it. Didn't look that thrilling. Changes to the scouting system, cool. Manager bling, dynamic manager timelines. It doesn't feel that big. Like the match AI stuff is really cool. The manager AI, the changes to the match engine, I'm really enjoying that. It's very chaotic. It really feels like games will turn on whether or not I make a good or bad tactical decision, and I like that, you know. Not so much because I tend to make bad tactical decisions, but I like it because it makes the game feel real. It feels like a football game, you know. But honestly, I think I'm enjoying the game because the core loop of what makes a Football Manager game doesn't really change. Like you sign for a club, you create a tactic, you sign the players to work in that tactic, or you sign players who don't work in that tactic and force them to, and then you try and win football games. That's the core gameplay loop. Like that, as long as that stays the same, people like myself and like you probably are going to keep coming back year after year, regardless of whatever other fluff they put in. I think the problem for me, especially when you look at the headline features that were announced, is that it feels like a lot of the stuff that is sort of outside of the gameplay loop, the core gameplay loop, but like really quite intrinsically linked to that gameplay loop, it needs a bit of work. If I were to say to you that international management needs a bit of work, probably need a new set piece creator, the press conferences are pretty dull, the regen faces they look like, you know, they look like living potatoes. Player interaction system, which I touched on in my 5 features video, that also needs a little bit of work. Like just make it a little bit more, make it make sense, you know. Right, yeah. Watch the video if you want my full thoughts on that. But yeah, so those things, like, I think we would all agree that they probably need a little bit of a tweak. So when I was researching and writing the script for what this video actually now is, I went back through Reddit threads for feature requests from, you know, what would you like to see in FM21, FM19, blah, blah, and reaction to feature release video threads. And reaction threads to official feature release videos. I went back 8 years, and the things that I just mentioned appeared in multiple threads across those 8-year periods. Now, I'm not saying that those things haven't been worked on, because they definitely have. You know, FM15 is a massively different game to FM23. There's no way that they've not touched, you know, player interactions and international management to be there. These features have almost certainly been tweaked and tinkered with over the years to make them, you know, to keep them up to date with modern gaming, I guess. You know, even FM22 is FM22 markedly different to FM23? I suppose because I don't know the answer to that question, that in itself is a problem. But for 8 years, you know, that's a long time for people to be saying the same things and for it not to be like consigned to the bin of, right, they've done that, it's really good now, we love it. And of course you're not going to please everyone. Like, people are always going to be pissed off about something. That's just the way the internet is, you know, everyone's angry about something. It sort of feels like those things need more than a tinker here and there, they probably need a bit of a rebuild. So I think the set piece creator really does, if they do nothing else for FM24, really, really, really have a look at the set piece creator. Like, it's so basic. I think every one of like Benji, Kevin, Lelujo, and Kevin Lelujo, it's the same person. Benji, Lelujo, Workspace, and Zealand. I think they all said the same thing about the set piece creator. Like, you know, being able to set my best header of the ball, my second best header of the ball, my third, rather than, oh, my right-sided defender is going to go and attack the near post, but then you've subbed him out for whatever reason, and he's the person you've subbed in is no longer the best defender. Like, that's just that is dumb. It's dumb. That should be in there. It just should. And then another one that astounds me is the inability to retain historical player data from season to season. Football Manager is a game built upon and reliant on data, and it's baffling, beyond baffling, as to why you can't store, like, even just like the last 5 seasons, so I can see, right, my winger, he's no longer creating as many chances as he has been over the last 5 years. You know, why would that be? Maybe I need to replace him. It's you know, and instead what we get is, you know, watches on your manager that you can't see after you've created the manager. You're that big in your manager time. When you're on the touchline, you're tiny. You can't see. So the main thrust of this video was going to be that I think Football Manager needs a competitor. Or Sports Interactive needs a competitor to sort of have someone biting at their ankles a little bit. This is nothing against the people who work at the studio. Like, we know that everyone works hard. We know how I work in tech. I know how difficult it is to get projects over the line, especially when your projects are going to be consumed by millions of people. Millions? I don't know what the sales figures are like for Football Manager, but I assume millions of people. Like, this isn't a dig at them. It feels like they're taking the foot off the gas a little bit. You know, like they don't. We're all going to buy Football Manager because we don't really have any other choice. You know, and if there was a choice, what would that choice look like? I think not sad, but I think that the reality of the situation is that I don't think there ever will be a choice. I think the cost involved to build a brand new football management game, are so prohibitive that it's just not going to happen, right? Like, you'd need to somehow get hold of the licenses, which I believe Sports Interactive hold exclusively, maybe? I don't know. No, they can't do, because FIFA have got, I don't know. You need to get hold of the licenses. You'd also need to build a match engine, and to hire the people to build that match engine that's going to be better than, or at least equivalent to, something that Sports Interactive have been iterating on for, what, a decade? When was the last time they did a big match engine change? A big match engine, probably about a decade ago, right? You need to hire UX and UI designers. You'd need to hire the artists to sort out the fancy graphics that people ask for. You'd need to hire all the other people that are involved in making video games, PR, marketing, and so on and so forth, QA. And the big one, the database. You'd need to hire an enormous team of researchers to go out and gather that data that Sports Interactive have gathered over however many years they've been building that database. It's enormous, and it's an enormous task. And the cost involved in doing that means that no one can do that. Jeff Bezos, maybe, like Amazon could probably step into it, but why would they? Why would they spend the money to do something that may just fail completely? It's too much money, and the audience base for Sports Interactive and Football Manager is almost entrenched because we haven't had the choice. So I don't think a competitor is the answer, really, which goes against the entire original idea of this video, where I was going to argue that they do need a competitor. I don't think it could hurt, but I know it's not going to happen. So I think we need to consider other ways that people could be made happier when these feature releases come out, and they're not necessarily what we want, you know? What we want. It sounds like this is like complaining that I've gotten fucking chocolate ice cream with no sprinkles, isn't it? It's pretty pathetic, but I'm doing it anyway because I've got a small platform and I'm going to use it, damn it. I mentioned earlier that I work in tech, and that I'm no stranger to projects and planning and all that sort of stuff. Now, all the projects that I've worked on have had some vague sort of project plan, or a roadmap, you might say. And you'll see this a lot in the Steam Early Access games and stuff. Having a roadmap that's going to show you what's coming up in the next version and the version after that, possibly the version after that as well. Football Manager doesn't do that. Football Manager sort of has that feature request thread on the Sports Interactive forum where you can say, oh, I'd like this, and it goes into some feature request database, and that's it. I know the guys at Sports Interactive are quite active on that forum and that they do respond to people, but until the feature headline video comes out in like August of each year, we've got no idea what's coming out in FM23. We've got no idea what's coming in 24, 25, 26, all the way down the line to however long it lasts. We have no idea. And I think maybe if they were to come out and say something like, yeah, you know, we're working on a brand new graphics engine, and it's going to be out maybe in FM25. Like, I think that would shut a lot of people up. I think, well, okay, right, well, I know that's coming. I'll stop whinging about it now. You know, it's got to be better than getting battered on Twitter every year, every time you release a feature request video and it's not got a fancy new graphics engine or whatever it may be that person X wants. I think the reality of the whole situation is this. The unfortunate truth of the matter is this. This video that I'm recording right now, that you're watching right now, means basically nothing. The video that the 4 big YouTubers put out means basically nothing. As good as it was, it means basically nothing. Throwing complaints at people on Twitter doesn't do anything, doesn't mean anything. The Reddit threads that I trawled back through for 8 years doesn't mean anything. What matters is that Football Manager sells in enormous quantities every year, and FM23 is going to be no different to that, regardless of what we might think about these features that have come out. You know, it's not inaccurate to say, I think, that most people who buy Football Manager don't really give a shit about regen faces or international management because it doesn't affect them that much. You know, they might notice it's a bit janky and could probably do a bit of work, but it's not going to stop them from buying the game. It doesn't stop me from buying the game, or you, because the core gameplay loop is there. Manage a club, sign players, create tactics, win football games. That is so damn good that the rest of it, you know, most people just don't give a shit. And I understand that, you know, for 30 quid, roughly, Football Manager is an astounding value for money product, regardless of what you think about the new features. It's gonna get you, it gets me, hundreds of hours of entertainment. If you're watching this video and you've watched it to this point of the video, you're probably the same. Hundreds, thousands maybe for some of you, hours of entertainment from a 30 quid game, you know? I think the crux of the matter, the thrust of the problem, what's the right way of saying it? I don't know, is that we're not always going to agree with Sports Interactive when it comes to what we think and what they think should be in the game. Them having competition isn't really going to change that, I don't think, because the possibility, let's hypothetically say that they did have a competitor that was able to put out a game that was comparable, if not slightly better than Football Manager. All that would cause Football Manager to do is try and, you know, possibly chase what that game is doing, rather than sticking to what they believe in will make the game better. Maybe they start chasing trends, and you know, and it dilutes or corrupts the artistic vision, or whatever you want to call it. So that's probably not the answer either. We have to just accept, we as consumers and as purchasers of the game, we have to accept that we're not always going to agree with Sports Interactive about what they want to put in the game. That doesn't mean we have to be quiet about it either, you know, hence this video. Like, I don't necessarily agree. I don't agree that what a lot of the stuff that's gone into the game this time around that was deemed a headline feature should ever be considered a headline feature. Manager bling and a dynamic manager timeline is not a headline feature. It's just not. It's fluff. Utterly pointless fluff. There, I said it. I don't really have a conclusion. I think the conclusion is it is what it is. If at any point it starts to annoy us so much, then we just don't buy the game, right? I guess that's the conclusion. Not much of a conclusion really, is it? Anyway, so I've been recording this for 27 minutes now. I don't actually know if you'll see a 27-minute long video, because a lot of it is waffle that I am going to have to trim down ever so slightly. But that's what I think. That's what I think about Football Manager generally. That's what I think about whether or not Football Manager needs competition. I've given an idea of what I think Football Manager could do to improve matters slightly, you know. What do you think? Let me know. Get in touch in the comments. Get in touch on Twitter. The Twitter thing's on the screen right now. And yeah, just let me know if you liked this video, if you liked the sort of chatty, rambly stuff. Drop a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel. I'm currently doing a beta save with Saint Etienne. I've got another couple of episodes of that to come out before the main game comes out on Tuesday next week. Blimey, that's quick. And then we're starting the manager's journey somewhere in Europe that's not one of the big 5 leagues. Yeah, I'll see you soon. Thank you so much for watching the video. All the best. Cheers. Bye.